the cage.
Edward Bad Teddy Bear Walls fled the horrors of civil war in his native Ivory Coast and came to Finland as a refugee at the age of 6. Now, the proud Finn has made a name for himself after showcasing his devastating striking skills, leaving behind a trail of highlight reel knockouts. Walls is incredibly fast, explosive, accurate, and lethal with his punches and kicks.
As a fighter, I'm very dynamic, pretty fast, and pretty aggressive.
Anthony Riggio is a powerful grappler with a BJJ black belt and a resume of submission victories to go with it. Riggio is aggressive all around and always ready to fight, but never to give up.
Alors, je sais qu'il a une grande expérience, mais moi aussi, il a un peu plus de combats que moi. Mais voilà, ça va tous jouer samedi et puis on va faire le mieux pour décrocher la victoire. Je pense que ça va se terminer au sol, comme la plupart de mes combats. I think he's gonna fall into an uppercut. I can see that pretty handily. What I love most about fighting is the unpredictability and the fear that comes with it. It's MMA, so it's very unpredictable. It's like two assassins in there, so it's pretty much the fight of two assassins. Who's the better assassin? And that's how we go. Alors j'aime toute l'adrénaline qu'il y a et surtout j'aime la victoire.
Will Wall's flashy striking send another opponent to sleep? Or will Riggio force the fight to deep waters on the ground and secure another submission victory? Ladies and gentlemen, Edward Walls versus Anthony Riggio.
To the blue corner, Anthony Riggio! Anthony Riggio making the walk, this formidable Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt. He's fought at both featherweight and bantamweight and high-level competition, including the likes of Mats Burnell. Incredible. He's no stranger to being the shorter fighter, and he's going to give up a little bit of reach tonight and a little bit of height, or more than a little bit. But as mentioned, incredible grappler with the Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt, and he's not afraid to strike boldly. He's got dangerous submissions, and he's got more than a few to his credit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is a very, very experienced guy. Like I said, he's fought Mats Burnell, fought with Wojciech, Martin Akta, and he's gone the full 25 minutes. I mean, he's gone 5-minute rounds where he picked up a unanimous decision victory over Mario Moreno. And he's ranked the number 10 bantamweight in the Nordic regions. I mean, this is a real, experienced, savvy veteran here who poses a lot of threat on the ground and isn't afraid to engage on the feet either. So, he's really got a bag full of tricks and he's not afraid to use them.
Yeah, and he's also got ferocious ground and pound. In addition to that, just general dangerous submission game. And on the feet, he's got heavy hands, though obviously he's not had to use them all that much.
Yeah, well, 7 out of his 10 victories have come by way of submission. So, yeah, clear where he wants it.
To the red corner, Edward Walls! Now making the walk to the cage is the Ivory Coast-born Finn Edward Walls, an explosive striker with dangerous power, stopping power. Number 3 ranked Nordic featherweight, phenomenal chin, and he's put that on display in the past. Very, very dangerous striker. He's been to war, gone all 3 rounds with absolute savages like Stan Sarime, and he's here to put on a show tonight. What do you think about this one, Sebastian?
Oh, I think, as you said, he is a fantastic striker with heaps of KO power. And now that he's moved down to bantamweight from featherweight, he'll have a big size advantage over most of his opponents here. I mean, like you said, just a savage striker. And he puts on a show every time he gets into a cage. I mean, some of his most defining moments have been right here inside this cage here in Finland, like his 42-second head kick KO of Monono Skiami at cage 43, which, in my opinion, is his defining KO. I'm sure that could be up for debate, but such a heavy-handed striker. He throws himself into the fire, and, he's kind of unpredictable. Sometimes he'll go for a takedown, sometimes he'll let an opponent back up that's been grounded. It's really hard to predict what he's going to do.
Yeah, one thing you can predict, though, is he's going to put heavy hands and powerful kicks to the head and body of his opponents every single time out.
Yeah, and it's like we said, that KO power cannot be understated, or be overstated, rather. I mean, he really has dynamite in both of his hands and pretty much every one of his limbs. And he switch stances on very often, very quick kicks, kind of a wide stance, sort of inviting his opponents in.
Yeah, absolutely. A very, very talented switch hitter. I think that's a very good read on your behalf. And with that kind of height advantage and that broadness of shoulders.
So yeah, 178 centimeters, slightly taller. So a huge reach advantage at that as well. Slightly younger. Experience pretty similar. And yeah, let's see how this plays out inside the cage as Edward Walls returns here in Finland at bantamweight.
In the blue corner, fighter with a professional record of 10 wins and 5 losses, weighing 61.6 kilos from Switzerland, Anthony Riggio! In the red corner, fighter with a professional record of 11 wins and 8 losses, weighing 62.9 kilos from Lappeenranta, Finland, Edward Teddy Bear Walls!
All right, here we go. It was, now we mentioned it, it's supposed to be the bantamweight return for Edward Walls, but he did actually miss weight. That is very worth putting out there.
Yeah, 62.9 kilos. When you're talking about a bantamweight fight, that's a pretty significant weight advantage,
Oh, yeah.
Okay, first round awaits us here in this bantamweight battle between Anthony Riggio of Switzerland in the blue corner and Edward Walls of Finland by way of the Ivory Coast in the red.
Man, immediately you begin to see that reach and height advantage in favor of Edward Walls is absolutely substantial.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it looks like 2 different weight divisions here. He towers over Riggio.
Yeah, and that's going to make those head kicks and those kicks to the body of Edward Walls that much more dangerous. I mean, when you've got that big of a difference in height, you can pop that leg up so much easier.
Oh, definitely, especially if they were to maybe start building a pattern of kicking low and then switch things up, going high. However, you've got to be careful of those kicks against a fighter who is as established as Riggio. I mean, he will catch kicks and use that to take the fight to the ground. And as we mentioned in the walk-ins, he has 7 wins via submission, so that's a 70% submission finish rate in regard to his victories. Definitely proves where he is at his most dangerous.
Yeah, you don't want to give your leg to a BJJ black belt. That's a very bad decision. And kicking, can very well put you in that sort of spot.
That was a nice quick jab we saw there earlier from
another one.
From us, yeah. Jabbing it up there, establishing that range, keeping his opponent at the end of his punches. And another one. And I'm quite sure, but yeah, there we saw a level change fake there from Riggio. Testing the reflexes there of Walls for a potential takedown attempt that I'm sure will follow later on in the round.
Edward Walls has already made that read, though. He said, hey, I see Riggio eating an uppercut.
Yeah.
And, that's a very dangerous spot to be in. So if he gets that read on him, specifically with that height advantage, it's not a whole lot of distance for that knee to travel to the chin of Riggio. Oh, and a big left hand swing. Another solid jab there for Walls.
And Riggio, not a novice in terms of striking. He has competed in amateur K1 competitions and such, but, it's just very clear that he is at his most dangerous when he is on the ground.
Yeah, and I mean, Riggio has some heavy hands. It's just he's not really needed to use them with his grappling acumen being as strong as it is.
Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Absolutely. Edward Walls, really just using his size to control and forward pressure to control where this fight takes place. Riggio is able to scoot out of there, and kind of cut away from being trapped. So if Walls wants him up to stay up against the cage, he needs to cut that off a little bit by moving to the right.
And Walls has 6 wins via knockout or TKO. He actually secured his first submission. So there were some nice strikes from Riggio.
Yeah, Walls is moving towards that power hand a little bit once he gets him up against the cage to try and throw that right hand. But you see, now it can be a little tricky.
Yeah, and the thing with Walls is he's got a borderline disdainful striking style where he just invites every possible strike coming his way, which gives him an opportunity to counter. And look at the pressure that he's putting on here. He's basically chasing Riggio down, forcing him up against the cage, cutting those angles. And I like how we're seeing lateral movement from Walls as well. He's not following. He really is trying to cut off the cage. But as I mentioned, he secured his first submission victory in September of 2019 here at cage 49, where he submitted Andrei Kokolov.
Walls just popped a solid jab into the face of Riggio, and again,
we're already seeing some redness in the face of the Swiss fighter here, and that's just a testament to those jabs. I mean, these aren't, wind-up power shots. They're just really powerful jabs.
Yeah, Riggio's going to need to do something to earn the respect of Walls here, because really, Walls right now is just putting this fight wherever he wants it, and he's battering that face of Riggio.
Oh, absolutely. And he connected with a strike there, did Riggio, but I mean...
You're going to need a little bit more than that, I feel. Edward Walls has an absolute just granite chin. He took huge shots from Michael Imperato, and he just ate him.
That was a very nice kick to the body there as well for Walls, and you can see at the reactions from Riggio that whenever Walls fakes or feints, he gets a big reaction from his opponent.
Yeah, when you got dynamite power, that'll make anybody think twice about staying put when you throw a shot.
Okay, Riggio connected there. But, Walls just ate it like a premium slice of New York pizza. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a kick from the right side coming from Walls, because he's almost hurting his opponent towards that side.
Yeah, absolutely. Not a bad idea.
So definitely a great round for Walls, but Steve, if you're Anthony Riggio, what do you need here heading into the second round?
Honestly, get the fight to the ground. Edward Walls is going to be bigger and stronger, but you've got to imagine that Anthony Riggio has, a distinct skill advantage. And so doing what you can to kind of really just close the distance, get a hold of him, and put him somewhere where you might have an advantage, because it's clearly not on the feet.
Yeah.
He's getting chased around. down, he's getting tagged up, he's getting battered. This is not where you want to be. And Edward Walls, I mean, just the tremendous size of him, the power, the explosivity. It's just, this is a very dangerous spot to be in if you're Riggio, because almost at any point Walls wants, he can throw that leg up and connect. He herds him to that right and then fires, you know, that right kick. That's a very dangerous spot to be in.
So let's see if Riggio's corner had some similar advice as that which you were heeding before, Steve. If he decides to, you know, maybe fake a little bit, or because, you know, he's thrown a couple shots and he has connected with some nice overhands, but, you know, it just hasn't been enough to ruffle Walls' feathers so far.
And I think a big, that one ruffled his feathers good. Ooh. Part of it is that size difference. So if he wants to play on the feet, he needs to get more aggressive. He needs to start landing shots of his own and stop letting Edward Walls dictate where this fight goes, because he's just hurting him right now.
And I would like to see Riggio go for a takedown the next time he lands in a flurry like that.
Ooh, another hard right hand. I think he's got a read here.
Yeah, that overhand right is starting to land. Oh, I like that he went low there as well after.
Oh,
he's
throwing fury, and that right hand turned the head of Edward Walls. Walls, though, patient, covers up a little bit, and then sticks that jab back in the face. You know, goes for that inside leg kick, kind of shying away from that big overhand right power of Riggio. And I mentioned it earlier, Riggio's got heavy hands.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just astounded that he hasn't tried to take this fight to the ground at any point now.
Well, I mean, it might be that he's really trying to lull Edward Walls into a false sense of security, thinking that, okay, yeah, sure, you've got this. And then just as Walls overextends himself, that's where the takedown comes. I mean, that could be a case, or maybe he just, you know, he's willing to step up to this challenge, which is facing Edward Walls in a striking match, which is one heck of a challenge.
Yeah, that's a tall order. You know, but here's the thing. If you do want to... brutal kick to the liver.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. That's... immediately, it looks like a little bit of redness there.
Yeah, that definitely got Anthony Riggio's attention. He did not like that one.
Good right hand as well. And I think he might be hurt. I think... Oh, no. He's gesturing. It's the mouthpiece. Yep, mouthpiece came out.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that was a strategic mouthpiece drop, but it did halt the momentum that Edward Walls had. But, you know, a cut now open up on the right side, just under the eye there of Anthony Riggio. I mean, it's not the worst of places to have a cut, but it's not doing him any favors, that's for sure.
No, and if you can get that eye to swell up, it can disguise that kick, that lead left kick to the body. That can land clean on the liver for Edward Walls. That's a debilitating shot if you can land it. And he's got very good body kicks. That eye is now a mess. I think it's cut on top as well. I can't see clearly, but I think it's cut on top and bottom.
I gotta say, I'm astounded. It's not a single takedown attempt. We saw one sort of level change fake,
quick level change
first
fake.
round, but that was as close as we've got it.
Oh! He rocked him! Oh, and he's eating that uppercut. Edward Walls kicks to the body, and he's trying to pick a mean shot.
Riggio firing back, but he's on thin ice.
He's on wobbly legs, too. Not a good combination.
Riggio connected there. He actually forced Edward Walls to step back, and he lands again.
He gave Walls something to think about. And now he goes with that inside leg kick and a good overhand right of his own. Now he's got him pressed up against the cage. Let's see what he does here.
We got ourselves a fight, ladies and gentlemen. Riggio's not going to take this lying down, that's for sure.
Yeah, he is not to be deterred, but on wobbly legs here, and the power is on full display. I think he wanted to take Edward Walls down. He just didn't really have the physicality to do it. That eye is a mess for Riggio, but he is dangerous as ever with those heavy hands.
I mean, I am impressed with his striking here. We've seen overhands and some good shots from him before, but I can't recall ever seeing Riggio fighting a striking bout against a knockout artist like this. Yeah,
he's just, you know, he's almost got the disdain in this for the striking skills of Edward Walls.
Goes now with that kick, and, you know, It's risky, of course, but if you're Riggio, not a big chance that Walls is going to try and take you down, so why not throw some more kicks?
Oh, that could have been a nasty head kick. Missed by inches. Another kick to that right side of the body. Oh, it looks like it might have actually hit the cup. Oops.
Okay, that is unfortunate as our action comes to a pause here in the second round.
That right eye of Riggio is just battered. He's getting a little bit of a breather here, but that might be... Let's take a look at this and see where the shot landed here. I couldn't quite see it. The leg was blocking it a bit. I'm not 100% sure if that landed on the cup, but the ref seems to indicate it did, and Riggio looks like it did for sure.
Yeah, I think at the very least it grazed off the cup.
Yeah.
Probably wasn't a flush shot to the pills, which is a good thing, of course.
Yeah, but he's taken 2 shots to the body relatively recently, those 2 kicks. Oh, cool Superman jab. But he's taken those 2 shots to the body recently, and then there goes another brutal kick to the head. This is going to take the wind out of him. That one looked clean to me, but I couldn't quite see it.
I also thought it looked clean. Although sometimes when you're hurt to the body, that pain can almost kind of spread to the groin area.
Yeah, either way, whichever it hit, it's going to start sapping at the cardio of Riggio, and that's a dangerous spot to be in, because as that cardio wanes, it becomes much more likely that you're going to drop your hands and you're going to get cracked with one of those speedy head kicks, and boy, do they have some steam on them.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I got to say, I'm impressed with both fighters in very different ways. I'm impressed with what we already know Edward Walls could do, because he does it so vicious. It's gorgeous violence every time. But I'm also very impressed with Riggio, who's really landed a lot of good striking exchanges here in the second round.
Yeah, Riggio just doesn't seem to give a darn about the offense that Edward Walls is throwing. He's just coming back with it and showing that he can land with power of his own, which that is incredibly impressive when you consider he's given up a height advantage. He's given up a reach advantage. He's given up a weight advantage.
Yeah.
Just everywhere you could give up an advantage, he has, including the fight is taking place on the feet. He gave up his advantage on the ground to strike with this gentleman, and it has made for one hell of an exciting fight. Let's see how that eye is doing now, though, after this brief intermission.
And no doubt in my mind that Riggio is feeling the pain to the body there of those shots. I mean, his general body language, as he was kind of hunching, as he was anticipating that shots, that basically says that your muscle memory says, wait, there's pain in the body. I don't want more pain towards the body. And that will open up the kicks to the head for Walls as well.
Yeah, that's a good read. And I do believe that Riggio is cut on both the top of the eyebrow there and underneath, on just right on that cheekbone as well. Oh, big hard right hand for Riggio lands on Walls. Oh, another dig to the body though.
I mean, it's almost like getting stabbed the way that Walls throws that push kick out. That
and the jab, he's got a very good kind of just straightforward, crisp, clear motions with both of those strikes. But Riggio is able to, give him something to think about with that left hand and that right hand behind it. Now he's got that leg, but
single leg attempt here, but first proper takedown attempt of the entire fight. I'm surprised it took him to the third round to see it.
Look, here's the problem though. You get him to the ground, now you're sweaty, you're both tired. Can you make use of it even if you're able to get him down? And can you get him down? Because look at the size of Edward Walls in comparison to Riggio.
Yeah.
He's not in on the hips here in any meaningful way. He is applying pressure up against the cage, but look at the amount of physicality being deployed by Riggio in comparison to Edward Walls. It's all of his body, everything he can, and the impact is not significant. Walls swims under, gets that underhook.
Underhook now on his left side. He's got both underhooks. He's gonna turn his opponent into the cage and disengage.
Riggio just doesn't have, despite having substantial physicality, he doesn't have the level of physicality required to overcome just the sheer size of Edward Walls.
I mean, really, I'm shocked to say, but Riggio's best moments have been on the feet.
Oh, that big uppercut. I couldn't quite see if it landed. I wasn't looking at the monitor. I was making the rookie mistake of looking through the cage.
Well, I mean, when you have, just a fantastic display of unbridled violence the way that we do, it's hard not to get sucked into, this angle that we have from the best seats in the house.
Yeah, and one thing that I just saw that I didn't quite like, though, is Riggio, he kind of looked off away to his left, and that's a really, really good way to take a shot over the top from Walls. Oh, he's throwing heavy leather.
Swing and a miss with that kick. Walls not interested in following his opponent to the canvas.
Yeah, not happening. Walls has had a great deal of success on the feet, and I think he wants to continue that. But, hey, Riggio is absolutely giving him a run for his money. He hasn't been able to do as much damage, but he's hit him with some pretty dang hard shots.
And we're seeing a little, kind of a continuation, more or less, of what we've seen so far, with Walls pressing the action on the feet, pouring on heavy pressure, finding a lot of good strikes, and Riggio firing back when he gets the opportunity.
Yeah, I have to think, though, that this fight has largely been in favor of Edward Walls up to this point. Riggio has definitely had moments, and they've been impressive moments. But when you look at the amount of damage done, and Walls just constantly pressuring forward, cutting off the cage, it's hard to give much of a nod to Riggio in any given round.
Absolutely. I mean, he's wearing the story of this fight on his face. It really does kind of paint a proper picture of how things have elapsed here.
Valiant effort, though, and, no quit in him. Throwing leather every opportunity he gets.
Again, a lightning quick jab there from Walls.
Walls just kind of bearing down on him. He kind of he looks to control those hands and then move into range. Very impressive. Oh, jab. Again. Controlling that power hand and then lands one. Oh, right over the top.
That was a nice right hand that Walls connected with there.
He's quick. Very, very quick. Oh, but so is Riggio with that left hook.
And if nothing else, I'm sure that these fighters have earned each other's respect. Can't remember the last time we saw somebody willing to throw down with Walls the way the Riggio is.
Sten Sarime for sure. Those two.
That's right, yeah. That was a great fight.
Gorgeous fight. There you have it. Riggio shaking his head. I think he might know that he dropped that one, unfortunately. Hey, valiant effort, though, and really, he was throwing leather with the baddest of them.
Oh.
So this is not, that was not a performance to be sad about if you're Anthony Riggio. What I would be upset about is that it didn't have 2 more rounds.
Yeah,
that was incredibly exciting, and honestly, who knows what could have happened? Sure, he was taking a majority of the damage there, but and here we see in the replay. Boom, solid left hook, but Riggio lands a right hand.
Yeah, a bit of a sloppy exchange there from both fighters. Neither landing flush, and there was a trip from Riggio as he threw the kick.
Yeah, a little slip there on the canvas. But hey, he was in it for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's turning away again, to that left. And that's not something you want to see or hey, it's easy to eat a good head kick if you're moving like that.
Yeah.
Not quite looking in the right direction. Very exciting fight, though. I very easily could have appreciated another 2 rounds on top of that.
I don't think a lot of people would have said no to that, Steve. I mean, yeah, just exciting, fast-paced striking. Who says no to that?
And I do think, however, that Walls had it in every single round.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Let's see how the judges here, cage side, have scored it as we await the official decision.
After 3 full rounds, we have the judges' decision. Winner by unanimous decision, Edward Teddy Bear Walls!
There you go.
Surprise there. Edward Walls gets the unanimous decision victory in his triumphant return here to cage.
Yeah, absolutely. But that was, a very, very exciting fight. Let's hear what Edward Walls has to say for himself when he goes and talks to Veli-Matti. Well, first he wants to appreciate the coaches.
Well, you got to give credit where credit's due, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And hey, credit to Anthony Riggio as well for making that a very fun and exciting fight.
Oh, definitely. Heart of a Swiss warrior for sure.
Edi, onneksi olkoon. Todella hieno voitto.
Kiitos. Ja aina kiva palata takaisin.
Niin, miltä se tuntuu otella taas täällä niin sanotusti kotihäkissä?
No, miltähän se pitäisi tuntua? Mulla on oma kotifani täällä, niin totta kai se tuntuu mahtavalta.
Niin kuin huomaa, niin meteli on melkoinen tälläkin hetkellä ja se oli sitä myös tuossa ottelun aikana. Todella sitkeä kaveri ja tarkasti otteli. Minkälaiselta se itsestä tuntuu?
Ensinnäkin niin mä haluan pyytää mun vastustajaa anteeksi, koska mä oon itse aika ammattilainen kaveri ja painon missaaminen ei missään nimessä ole niinku hyväksyttävä käytös. Mulla jäi pikkasen yli valitettavasti, mutta jatkossa ei tule käymään sellaista. Ja mitä se tulee siihen kaveriin, niin oli aika kinkkinen, että se oli tosi vaikea silleen luettavissa, kun se odotteli tosi paljon. Niin kombinaatioiden yhdistäminen oli tosi hankalaa. Niin mulla oli pakko pelata sillä etukädellä, että sori ei nyt tullut ihan kaikkein niinku naudittavin show, mut hei, se oli kuitenkin aikamoinen show.
Se oli nimenomaan sitä. Tuntui siltä, että kaveri tosiaan pystyy asettamaan itsensä semmoiseen positioon, että ihan täysiä kunnon osumia oli todella vaikea saada. Mut mitä tästä eteenpäin? Mitä seuraavaksi?
No mitäs tässä eteenpäin? Kamppailijat kuule urheilee ja valmistautuu siihen seuraavaan, et nähdään silloin.
Juuri näin, onneksi olkoon. Eddie Walls!
My finish is imperfect, to say the least, but I do believe he apologized for missing weight. And, he talked about putting on a show, I believe. I couldn't quite catch it.
Lyhyelle tauolle, niin noin 10 minuuttia. Teillä on aikaa hakea virvokkeita ja palata tänne takaisin sinne kohta taas.
You are about to experience the cage.